So this is us here to express our opinions, our experiences, our perspectives about being Tarabans in Taraba and then Tarabans from outside Taraba. Have you had a situation where you had to tell someone, okay, my name is Jerry Manuel and I'm from Taraba State, and the first expression or reaction you got is, how in God's name are you from Taraba? Where is Taraba? Who is Taraba? Funny questions that it first take for you as a Taraban is offensive and rather funny. So this is us here to experience or express our experiences to you as our viewers. And we don't necessarily require validation from anyone. It's just taking the conversations beyond ourselves and bringing it out. So I have guests here with me today. From my right, I have Balam, and from Steve, but they would have to introduce themselves better while the conversation goes forth. So, as a Taraban from Taraba, born and raised in Taraba, my name is Jerry Manuel, and I've lived literally all my life here in Taraba State, Jalingo particularly. I've had to go to primary school here, and then my first experience outside Taraba by myself would be when I traveled to Plateau State, just one boarding school, and you get to hear the questions of where are you from. Of course, definitely, I'm meeting new persons, and you get to tell them I'm from Taraba State. And funny enough, how Plateau State being a northern state as well, you get people from the north seeing you as a lesser person than them just because you are from this part of the north. They feel is it subservient of some sort to their own part of this the country or the north. Then further to senior secondary school where I had to move to Cross River State, and then now this is a bigger and more diverse experience where uh, these are not northerners, right? And then you conversate with them and you more or less in some way speak good English. You probably look different to their standard opinion of how a northerner should look like. I mean, I've had situations where I've had every single person is calling me Aboki for whatever reason or not, Malam. And it's not necessarily in the sense of you really being an Aboki for whoever understands what Aboki or Malam means. It's more or less oftentimes an offensive where you do something wrong and they call you Malam, Aboki like you and stuff like that. And then I think I was sharing with you, Balam, yesterday where I went to get water in SS1 and I had two senior students, one from Benue, one from Cross River. And the other one, the one from Cross was telling the guy from Benue that, okay, this guy is from Taraba State. And the guy from Benue was like, hell no, like, it can't be possible. He doesn't look Taraba. He doesn't speak Taraba. And then for there, that was where it really hit me. How is Taraba supposed to look like? How is Taraba supposed to speak like? How is Taraba supposed to be like, generally? So this conversation, I would like to get your own experience. First of all, you tell us if you've lived your whole life as well here in Jalingo or Taraba generally, and what prompted you to coming back if you didn't, and then how has it been in relation to Tarabans in Taraba and then Tarabans outside Taraba for you, Balam? Really quick intro of yourself.
All right. Yeah, my name is Bala Matiku. My parents are both from Taraba State here, Karim Lamido to be specific. Although I was not born here per se in Taraba State, but I could also say literally that I've spent majority of my life here in Taraba State. I can remember I was actually born in Lagos State, but then back in 2003 we came back to Jalingo, Taraba. And then I could remember being a young boy then. It was kind of a different experience having to see big buildings and sorts growing up, then coming here and seeing a lot of things different. So I think as at that point in time, that was more or less like a shift to an extent for me. So growing up, I schooled in Yola, also went to school in Abuja, the university. We've had lots and lots of different experiences, just as you just mentioned, where because of the, if I may say, diverse experiences you've had, being someone who has traveled, you tend to feel a little different from some of us who are here in Taraba State. probably even because of the way you speak, your accent. I know I've had experiences where I had to change my accent literally to fit in.
When you say fitting, in what sense? Fit into Tarabans or people from outside Taraba? Which one?
Both, actually.
So what's like the switch?
Well,
And how is the Taraba accent supposed to sound like? Because
no,
I feel
I'm
like
not.
this fitting or going to the norm, the narrative, should I say? So how what's the accent change, if I may ask?
Well, I don't really think I could describe it per se, but I don't know. I don't want to to sound stereotypical, but there's actually an accent we in Taraba have.
Mm.
There's an English accent we have where when you're speaking English, this person knows, okay, yeah, this person is born and bred and has schooled here. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Not generally a northern accent, but a Taraba kind of accent.
Uh, let's call it northern.
Oh, because well,
Let's call it northern. And then you know quite obviously that when you're not here in the north, probably you're in places like Abuja or
which is still the
Lagos
north.
or Port Harcourt, and you tend to be around people who are not from the north, just like you said, you have to be fluent in your English. Because sometimes if you decide to relax and talk normally in quotes, there's this perspective, I think I would say, that people see you with. That, okay, so this guy, you're Hausa. And when they say you're Hausa or you're Abuki, just like you said, there's this there's this stereotype they put you into, uneducated and unexposed, if I may say. But I think that's just that from my own point of view.
Okay. Well, for you, Steve, probably a quick intro of
My
yourself
name,
and
my
then.
name is Steve Mutsumgubai from Taraba here. I'm 5 months in my stay here in Jalingo, so I'm quite new. I was born in Benin City. All my life has been outside of here. So coming here, my first thought is actually how will I get to socialize with these people? Because over there, trust me, when you say you're from the north, the first thing they say, Kai, who is this guy? Like, you speaking English alone, they'll be like, I sabi this English.
Yeah.
That's the
True,
first thing they
true.
say. They will liken you to the cobbler replaying your shoe
Yeah.
or the condemned iron guy trying to pick iron from their compound. So, us being privileged, first off, going to schools with the Southerners, because it's Benin in the south, that's Edo State. It was more like going there and coming here, having this total paradigm shift. Now, I actually work in radio and I host programs here. So I'm getting to understand bit by bit the way people here think. It's quite different from how I'm being brought up, actually, but trying to adjust to certain things. One is the social life. The social life for me, even though I don't really go out that much, but I feel is down. No, I feel it's like a known fact. It's
Yeah.
down compared to what you have in Lagos.
Yeah.
So me trying to adjust and the rest, and my university days back in Osun State, if I say I'm from Taraba, the first thing is, so that state actually exists. More like we all went to primary school, secondary school,
Yeah.
36 states and capital, we all recited these things. So for some, it's more like, states like Taraba, Jalingo are just there for formalities, and you meeting someone is like, it's surprising, So that state really exists. And for us, like, when they say that state really exists, someone like me, there's no push for me to, there's no word for me to try to use to push the dialogue because I do not know my state that well. For me, coming here is actually like a state of finding myself, like finding like where I come from. I'm Genjo, the language I do not understand. Coming here, I also got to understand that there are many, many tribes in Taraba. Before now, I just thought it was just Genjo and Wokari. Silly me.
Wow.
That's Jukun actually. So coming here, I've related with people, gotten to know that even my local government, which is Karin Lamido, has
Yeah.
more tribes than just Genjo itself.
Yeah.
And just trying to fit in actually. I believe from my own perspective, what I'm saying, because I host programs on radio, so I feel the state is adjusting to some certain things. Social life gone. I feel the state adjusting to many things, and with time, because like I said, I'm 5 months in here, so with time, I'd fully know the whole sphere and how the state, in particular, not the state, the city Jalingo, because is being run actually. So that's that for me
Okay, so
actually.
basically, like for you, before I get back to Balam, two things for you.
Okay.
There's the part where you spoke about the privilege in
Mm.
quote. So more or less, the privilege necessitating your ability to speak good English,
Yes.
your ability to more or less look
Yes.
different from the
Mm.
opinions people
Mm.
might have. For me, I feel like Balam as well. Maybe as a Taliban, I don't think. Well, Nigeria generally privilege. What's it called? Gets you to good schools.
Mhm.
Privilege gets you to probably meet. To go to better societies and stuff like that. I understand the environmental change,
Yeah.
but in Taraba, while in Taraba, would you really agree to the fact that for people in quote that speak well, they are necessarily the privileged ones? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yeah, I
You
think I
understand
get
my
it.
question as
I
well?
do. I do.
Because for me, I feel like, I don't really necessarily agree to the fact that it's the privileged ones.
Mm.
Now that's me trying to go contrary because from what you've said, you've generally, yes, you are from Taraba, but you've generally spoken as someone who sees Taraba from the outside.
Yes.
Now you are 5 months in, and now
Yes.
your opinions are changing, but they are not
Mm.
necessarily so different from someone still from the outside. You understand my point?
You know, going to schools there, were kids.
Yeah.
Then growing up, I later learned to believe that the way they see us there, especially if you're from the north and you go to this school, why I use the word privilege is the first thing that we associate with you is the quota system.
Yeah.
They will be like, definitely, if you are opportune to be in such a school, definitely there's a way they look at you like less, but more like your brother puts your
Do you get that kind of
papa.
situation?
Do you feel that kind of thing when I say privilege? That's the way they just look at us. So it's totally different. That's the moment, because looking at me, it will be hard to tell that you're not from this part. But the moment you say it, that's the angle they just go. Once, of course, if you know people from Benin, those people, they are blunt. They do not care about you. So they'll tell you as it is. So that's just the way it is. Not like when I say privilege, not like privilege in terms of, how will I put it, social classing. Not like privilege in terms of social classing. Because over there, everyone has access to good schools, access to normal things with basically.
And it's funny, yeah, because you just said something which I actually relate to. How for them and I keep saying in a sad way for them over there because this was really my reality. Your ability to speak good English generally means you are a rich kid.
Yes.
When I was in Cross River State, I really
Yeah.
got that a lot. You have some, and of course, I maybe looked it. I was some fat kid and all of that stuff. So the conventional definition of a boti ajebo, you understand?
But are you not?
I am not. I don't think I am.
Okay.
So yeah. So you must be a rich kid in quotes to be able to be able to speak like that. And okay, personal story. I was born and raised there. Primary school. I met Balam. I don't know if you can remember that, but Balam was my immediate junior in primary school. I don't know if you can remember that. He
Yeah, I
got to
can.
new edition, yeah. So when they came in with his sister at a very odd period, odd person. I think it wasn't. Of course, people come into school first term, but they came at I think second or third term kind of situation.
Second term, I
And
think.
so there were this. It was obvious that they were new students in school, yeah, and he could speak good English, yeah. And that was when I was in primary four, he was in primary three, I think so. That was when they introduced the category for best in English. And all my life I thought I was going to get that. Then he came.
Wow.
And yeah, this is
You
like
still
a true
remember
story.
that?
Yeah, I still tell people. I started reading dictionary
Wow.
to just bring up words that just to displace this guy from getting that. At the end of the day, he still got it, sha. But what I'm saying is, does it necessarily have to be you being privileged to be able to be fluent, eloquent, and things like that? Because I honestly have an issue with that opinion, and that is what a lot of them out there also stand with or lean towards. You have to be like some rich kid from the north. Just like you live in Nigeria and going to a good school abroad. Yeah, you'd have to be one of the politicians' children.
Mm.
Dad is some oil, and they can literally buy the idea.
True.
My dad is some oil guy, and they believe you because Nigeria is a poor country. So
Yeah.
the narrative, the stereotype. So well, while in this, would actually have to like play some kind of game situation, questions. Right, Balam has been given an opportunity to have his own questions. Steve as well, and I have mine. So everybody will pose their questions, and then to the two of us, if Balam is asking me and Steve have the right to answer if we think we know the answer. And so our answers also open up this conversation. So I don't know who's going first.
I
First
think you should.
question.
Let me shoot first. The issue, I think three of us we all agree on how people, the perspective in which people see us.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you believe it's a thing that concerns us here, or it's actually from their end? Is it that we're not doing much per se to portray the state in better light, or they are not just seeing us from their end?
Well, for me first, I don't know if you. For me first, is a two-way thing.
Okay.
Now, this is one of the answers is why we are doing something like this to open up the state
Awareness.
awareness to let people know that okay, it's not really as you think it is, right? And then secondly, I would like to relate it to the general perspective of Africans by Europeans, Americans, and things like that. We have some poor people in some poor community living next to animals that need $3 or 3 cents per donation and stuff like that. You want the BBC and sometimes they are just offended. You understand? Yeah. Unless you actually come in to actually relate. Are there people that speak bad English in Taraba? Definitely, yes. Are there people that look probably like their narrative? Definitely, yes. But are we all like that? Absolutely no.
No.
Do you understand? There are poor people in Africa. There are people that are necessarily living next to animals, like the Maasai people and things like that. But are we all like that? No. There are people in Africa, in Nigeria, that have never seen a lion. Do you understand? And so I feel like it's just about people learning to change their opinions. We are not necessarily standardized as being that. Yes, there's a true side to that opinion, but we are not generally that. And that's why, for me, this came up to really tell people, okay, there's this other side of Taraba. Because I actually have a friend whose friend was posted to Taraba to serve just this year. And even before the guy got here, he was already working his.
Redeployment.
Do you understand? Why? Because of an opinion, not an experience, an opinion. So, which is a very sad thing for me. It's actually a very sad thing. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, I actually do. It's also in relation to what you just said. You know, I want to answer this question from the media perspective, basically. You know, most or majority of those who don't live in the north only know things they know from the north from the media. And one statement I believe about the media is the media will always sell, or they will always portray what would sell rather than what is actually true. And if you look at what the social media and also mass media generally are selling to the country generally about the North is not safe, the North is not educated and exposed. So you don't really blame anyone who's literally watching the news and learning about the North from the media, because that is what they are selling to that person. And that person hasn't been there before. So because of that, it's just as you said, as above, so below. The way foreigners look at Africans as people who live with the animals is the same thing we have in the regions here in Nigeria, where a person from either the south or the southwest or even the east who hasn't been to the north would definitely believe what the media would tell him, which, although we wouldn't say is a lie per se, but is not completely true. So because of that, I think it's a two-way thing. The media plays a role. We also play a role, because some of the northerners who actually go to the south to look for job opportunities are mostly uneducated. So this person is trying to mix an algorithm of the people he sees as northerners on the roadside and what the media sells to him. So what else would you have to convince this person that this is not actually what is happening in the north? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah. So quickly before we go into, I feel like I should just say this. Then definitely the questions. When I was in Jos, I was in Jos too, and then I had someone from Taraba, some rich kid, popular family, dad, high-ranking person in the country, not just in Taraba State. His kid was like, I think, my immediate senior, and I had two classmates that were also from Taraba, or are still, they are from Taraba, and we were conversating in Hausa in school, in Plateau State, Jos, the North. They speak Hausa too. Do you understand? And we were talking, and he came to us, and he spanked one of us, and he was like, "Why are people speaking in Hausa? Why are you speaking in Hausa? Don't you know the insult us as Tarabans here? Don't you know the insult us?" And I was just offended, like, who does this guy? So we speak in Hausa, reduces our I don't
Exactly.
know, like
Educational
I don't even
ability. Yeah.
yeah, do you understand? And this is where you just have to really act a certain way to validate the fact that to get noticed that I don't know they are Taraban to just impress people. No, like in Cross River State, I was intentionally speaking Hausa back to back in the hostel with one or two persons that could speak Hausa just to. I really enjoyed fitting into that narrative, and then when they hear me speak Hausa, and then when I speak English, so I actually love that to make them like just be ashamed of yourself kind of situation. I really did that a lot. In the hostel, most of my time in the hostel, I spoke Hausa with people that could speak Hausa. And so yeah, generally back to your questions. Yeah, are you going first or you?
Yeah, he went first.
Okay, you should go
Okay,
first
so I
then.
should
Your
go.
question.
Thank God we've all traveled out of Jalingo per se. Give it a chance that there's an opportunity comes up right now, like Balam or Ima, it's time for you to like leave the city. Would you how would you like take the opportunity? Is it something you would not think of at first, or is it something you just have to sit to decide on
Frankly, I'll jump on it.
to leave the city?
Yeah. Frankly, I'll jump on it. Because I'm not trying to say, yeah, there's no place like home. To be frank, there's no place like home. This is my home. This is our home. But I've always, frankly speaking, I've always felt like a foreigner here to an extent. I've always, because the, I don't want to call it cultural gap per se, but then sometimes when you try to relate to how a lot of things happen here, it doesn't really fit into who you are and what you've experienced.
Can you break it down that one? Because I don't really understand. You feeling like a foreigner and then
Ah, wow, okay, okay. How do I break this down? I've had experiences lots and lots of times where people treat me differently, even look at you differently because of how you speak and how you dress here.
that's now not just from people outside Taraba, but from
Yeah,
Tarabans themselves.
yes. I've dressed because of the way I've dressed. You take this scenario. You dress well, you enter inside a keke napep, and then people just start looking at you differently. Like, why is this guy dressed so nicely? And your accent, the way you speak, is just so different. Like, it's one of these rich kids now. You guys are privileged and all of those sort of stuffs. So you know now it's a normal thing here. When you enter keke, Sanu or Nauni, you just greet generally. But then I've had lots of experiences where I've been in that position and I've tried to okay, Sanu or greet. People just shun you and like ah. So because they were recurrent experiences, it made me to create this kind of okay, I guess maybe it's because of the way I speak or the way I dress. So sometimes I don't even talk the way I talk. Kawe Aishita Hausa Kawe, you get like let me just try to fit in. I've always yes, I think this is the best answer to the question. I've always tried to find a way to fit in kind of. So because of that, frankly, for no I won't really pinpoint it for any reason, but because of this kind of, I'll jump on the opportunity.
Wow.
Well, you asked the question, but can you relate to his answer?
Yeah, I do. The only thing I'm finding it hard to get is okay. You say they look at you less, or is it like they look at you in
That
a
really got me.
It's just
cause you being like well dressed, definitely they will look like you like this one are like senior bros.
Yeah,
Then they will treat you
yeah.
with more respect.
But not
But
because you
the way you put in is more
Not
like
say,
they will like is he
I
maybe
really
they feel
wanted to process that in
maybe
my
they feel lesser than you at that point. Then they want to like subject it to you immediately. More like is that the case there?
yeah, it's let me put it in the phrase of it's basic human nature. Sometimes you may decide to feel low self-esteem because of seeing someone who looks or talks better than you. So you would want to do something to trigger that person so that let's feel equal now.
Yes.
You annoyed me because of how you dress and how you talk. So if you greet me, I won't answer you. I've now vexed you, right? Fine. 50-50.
I feel like I'd rather settle for that basic human nature thing than you being a Taraban. Because I feel like it's general. I can be in Lagos, I can be in Abuja and dress.
No, but him is talking like he's from Taraba, so definitely
he
his
is in
people are
Taraba.
supposed to look at him like yes, we are one. But that's the point he's drawing.
So people don't make you feel like you are part of them.
When I try to be myself, let me put it that way.
So more like your alter ego
deeper
comes to
angle.
play every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm always trying to fit in.
Wow.
Let me just be frank.
That's revealing. That's revealing to me, honestly. But yeah, to your question, definitely. I mean, it's just like the greener pasture narrative. Or yeah, if I get a better job outside Jalingo, definitely I'll jump
I
on
actually
it.
did not see a better job. I just say if an opportunity comes for
But
you.
an
to-
opportunity, then you have to relate it. If I,
More like, okay, let's say for example, you earn higher than you'll be earning outside of Lagos. Would you like
why should
outside
I?
of
Why should I leave?
better life and opportunities over time, basic amenities, healthcare, and other things?
You're earning more, and then
by
with
no
that
by no much of a gap actually.
honestly, regardless, now you're not stating the gap. I feel like I'll still stay back in Jalingo. Whatever I'm earning can give me the privilege or opportunity to go experience those places, but not necessarily be part of that society. Just like the whole Jackpot narrative.
Yeah.
People live in the country, yeah, and I know of people, maybe me one of them, that would, I don't really admire staying outside Nigeria.
country.
Do you understand? I would like to visit, stay for a while, but not necessarily see that as a long term kind of place to live in. But I have people that they are getting a call today, tomorrow they are on the move. Do you understand? So yeah, there are lots of them like that. So yeah, I feel like it's dependent on how. Yeah, there are people who argue about the better life, healthcare, all of that, which is true, which is very true. But almost I have friends that are there already, and then when they talk to you, maybe they make me feel lazy, yeah, but they're easy for that side too, Sha. Do you understand that kind of situation? Like, I have one who literally told me, Jerry, if to say I servicing I say good day, I for just stay back. Like really, he really told me that for that one just killed me, and that kind of situation. Well, I don't want to really go so deep into that experience. But yeah, if I get a better job outside Taraba that pays me better than what I do in Taraba, definitely I'll jump on it. But if it does not pay me more, I feel like the earning will determine whether I will leave or not. But leaving because this is outside Taraba, nope. For me, I wouldn't. I mean, you just came back you moved to Jalingo.
Yes.
And I believe where you were working as well,
Sure.
right? So if I was to ask you as well, so what would make you leave where you were for your job now in Jalingo?
Firstly, when I started my introduction, I said this is like a self-finding mission.
All right.
All my life, I've not lived here. So when it gets to you get to a certain age, as a man, as a male child, where you begin to see things differently. Yeah, you have a total paradigm shift, and I think that occurred to me like last year. And when an opportunity just came for me to leave, I had to. And 5 months in, I feel I'm enjoying my stay actually. So. So that's
before Balam's question, and that was one question I also wanted to ask you.
Yes.
So, maybe you had standard opinions. Have you been visiting Taraba before now?
Just to the village.
Yeah, but not
Just
Jalingo.
the village, not
Right, okay,
Jalingo,
so
not the main
I
city.
guess for some reason you had an opinion as well about Taraba.
Yes, I grew up over there. So even when they throw in questions, I have nothing to say to just like disqualify whatever they are trying to say.
Okay,
I'll
so
just
now
accept.
that you are here, not necessarily all, but has any of your opinions changed?
Yes.
Which is?
My people are not that primitive.
Yeah, primitive.
No. But that coming here, I like, how will I associate with people? How will I relate to people? And I was shocked at my first day here. I was actually very, very shocked. I was very shocked. Like you said, the media does portray the state in a bad light, or the media generally portrays everything like in a bad light. Anything to get click, that's what they will definitely show. And before now, you search Taraba, you said Jalingo. Most news coming from here is controversial.
This media issue.
You'd have to agree.
I think yesterday we were talking that there was this Vox Pop that was trending 2, 3, 4 years ago, where they were asking people where Jalingo is. And then there was this woman in the interview that said, where is Jalingo? A fully grown Nigerian, probably most likely working in Nigeria, has lived in Nigeria all her life. Where is Jalingo? And I was like, what in God's name is this? So, I mean, it's funny, not funny, funny, and it's just all sorts of, I don't know, mutually exclusive feelings, should I say so. Yeah. So Balam, your own question.
Yeah. Okay. I think you would be in a better position to answer
Why
this
do you think so?
because for the fact that you've not been here for long, I guess. But okay. Well, it's more of infrastructures in the state, if I may say. I believe the three of us have been through three different government administration in Taraba State. That of Reverend Jolie Tinyame, that of Pharmacist Mbaba, and
Darius.
then Darius. Yes.
Has he? I don't think he has experienced that.
I used to come home
Oh,
like
okay.
once in a while, so I
Yeah.
did.
Okay. So I want to pinpoint on three basic structures that have been raised during these three regimes. We've had Jalingo Motel during Jolie's regime. We've had the stadium, which was completed during Mbaba's regime, and then we have the Kokumba. Is it plant or farm?
Greenhouse.
Greenhouse. Yes, the greenhouse. Yes, and there's a kind of a trend that most things that the state government raises doesn't really last for long, which is a little evident. So my question now is, would you blame it on the fact that the citizens, that's us here, don't really patronize these businesses in quotes, or is it that the government don't really take care of them?
Mm. Well, since you said I'm in a better way to answer, I think it's a Nigerian factor.
Okay.
Structures, government establishments or public establishments not really lasting the test of time, regardless of how good they are. I mean, we are in the state stadium now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And just earlier, producer was saying, "Oh, this stadium na standard place." So you understand? I mean, anybody that comes here knows this standard. You understand? But of course, it's dilapidating over time. If you go to the main bowl, it's already.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's half past dead.
yeah. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So for me, is it really about us not patronizing? Okay, use the reference of Taraba Motel during Jolie's time. If you've actually really grown up in Jalingo, you know that Taraba Motel has been a go-to place for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's about patronage, I feel like Taraba Motel has gotten the most patronage of all these hotel facilities in
Okay.
Taraba. Yeah, because back then when we were in primary school, children's party was in Taraba Motel.
Yeah.
Like just whatever, it was always in Taraba Motel.
Yeah, most
It was the
occasions.
one, it was the go-to place for any activity, receptions or stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it's because of lack of patronage. It's because of the government's inability to also maintain and sustain these facilities.
Which is a
You get
national
the
thing.
money, yeah, which is a national thing, and yeah, but since we are relating it to Taraba, you get the money, but you are doing nothing about it. Of course, people will rent spaces in the stadium here
Yeah.
for receptions and things like that. It's like, does it show you that people rent these places? It's dying, and then
Yeah.
they are generating revenue from it. So I feel like it's a government thing and not a lack of patronage kind of situation. People patronize the stadium as well, regardless of how bad it is. Play basketball at the court, regardless of how bad it is.
Yeah.
The chairs, they are almost dead. You go to the main bowl, there are stacks of chairs that are there, and then there are chairs that are dead in the court. Tennis courts, badminton courts, there are chairs that are dead, and then there are stacks of new chairs there that nobody's trying to replace the old ones with. And I guess those chairs were gotten for replacement. And over time, because that was like part of the master plan.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wouldn't say it's because of lack of patronage. It's because of the government's inability to,
To maintain.
yeah, yeah. Generally, that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would go with that too because I just did not want to throw it in a particular light that okay, I'm trying to blame the government and
It's for me. It's a
Thing.
government issue. Do you think otherwise?
Yeah.
No, I actually followed same light with you guys. It's actually a government issue, not just here, everywhere, the whole country. So they just build anything. Then maintenance culture is like dead zero. So they don't care after 2 years, 3 years. Everything is just like God. The only one I can think of now, not think of that I'm fully aware of is the cucumber greenhouse.
How
That's like
greenhouse died
yeah.
as soon as it started. It died.
it's passing there. I was like, was there like a need for such project at
yeah,
this time?
I've always felt like that.
Like, is there a need for such project at this time? But we cannot question.
But funny enough, when the first harvest or proceeds of the greenhouse started coming, everywhere in Jalingo was cucumber. I don't know if you were in Jalingo. Everywhere, cucumber. People were selling cucumber up and down. Like the cucumbers everywhere. Like the cucumbers were everywhere. Do you
Okay.
understand? So and it was cheaper. It's a plus. Probably it met the idea, but it died as soon as it started.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. I mean, if you go there, cucumber, they are now planting maize there. Do you understand? That's how terrible it is. So yeah, it's just. I mean, it's a government thing. So my own question is this. Let me start on a softer note. Who can like tell the first five or four rather? I think we've had just four. The four military administrators we've had in Taraba
Wow.
as Tarabans. I feel like those are like quick Q&A questions.
Is Awoni alongside before?
Aoni, are you asking or you're saying?
I'm saying.
Aoni, there's no one like Aoni that was a military.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you have an idea?
Not at all.
Not at all. So it's up to you.
No idea. I just gave you the only idea I
It's
had.
actually Ooni, not Aoni.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Age Ooni. So the motor park, yeah, I think it was built by Ooni during his time. I think it was around 96. I'm not so sure. The Ooni quarters by him as well. Then we have Afulan Square. Of course, you've heard of Afulan
Yes,
Square.
yes.
We had people like Oyakire, is a captain or whatever. Oyakire, we had Mamon Dixon. I think he was the one that handed over to Baba. Sorry,
Oh,
Jolie Nyami
Yeah.
rather. That's his first ten, I think so. If I'm not making a mistake, yeah. So these are like four military administrators we've had in Taraba. Yeah. So what other standard opinions? Now, if for instance you are to go out now you been in Taraba for just 5 months and you get to leave again, and you been in Taraba for a long time, waiting on the opportunity to get a better job to leave Taraba. By a chance, if any of you should leave, like what's that one thing you feel like if you had to sell out? That thing worthy of mention. Taraba is nature's gift to the nation. I mean, it's no news that we have like one of the best tourist sites in Taraba State. We have a lot of places, Tepawadi, Gashaka Gumti. I mean, a lot. Literally, we have 16 local governments and two development sites. Like, literally every region has a tourist site.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, what's that sellout thing for you as we end, as we round up for this episode? What's that sellout thing that you, if you meet people from that are not from Taraba or Tarabans that are outside Taraba but not necessarily interested in Taraba, like what's that thing that you tell them to really attract them to the state?
For me, it's the people, the talent that the people have. Like I've been opportunity to go outside some nights and see some musical talents that blew my mind. Like the level we have in Lagos, we're having such talent here, but
Can you
there's
mention
no.
any?
Actually
Anybody
go.
has
You know,
that?
there's this karaoke they do at the
Yeah,
hangout.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there's El Nenny guy.
Yeah, Nelly.
I've heard him sing once, and I was really blown by him.
This guy
Actually,
Venom.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
more like given an opportunity. We have talents we can export, not just like outside the tourist attraction and other things we have. We have talents we can export. That's
Okay.
just like the thing I can sell out.
Yeah. I
Bala.
think I want to add to what he just said. Actually, when the slogan is this slogan for Tarabase was given to be nature's gift to the nation. The gift was not referring to the natural resources; it's the people, in my opinion. Because I could actually attest to what you just said that there are so many talented young individuals, not just young too, even old, if I may say. But there are so many talented individuals we have in these states that if given the platform or when given the platform to excel, they could actually do so much. They could do so much. So I think, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you as regards that.
Well, and for me, beyond the people, it's actually about the place in itself. Because primarily, Taraba is the people, but yet the place. You understand? So the place in itself is actually a very lovely place. I mean, a very large landscape. Travel from Ukari to Jalingo, you feel like you're traveling from one end of the world to the other. I mean, I've had people that are visiting the state for the first time, and I mean, so if you love traveling, I mean, Taraba is a place you would actually really travel and really enjoy traveling. You can travel within Taraba from one place to another for 13 hours. Yeah, Zing to Sardana, you can actually really do that 13 hours, which is almost equivalent to traveling from Jalingo to Lagos, something like that. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's actually
Abuja.
that big. It's actually that interesting. The landscapes, the horizons, the people, as you said. So there are lots of things. The sites, we are planning on really visiting sites. So I mean, there are a lot of things you can really sell out. I remember lastly, I would say, when Taraba, during Dambaba's time, when Taraba United was really doing well. At some point, they were topping the league, and at some point, they were second. If I was arguing with my cross Riverian friends, I'll tell them, do people have a football team? Ours is like second in the league. If you think we're lying, we'll Google. And then we always say, so I feel like I always wanted to really, so there are always a lot of things to really sell out Taraba for and with. So yeah, thank you guys for really coming. And as I said to you viewers, this is us really just expressing ourselves, our opinions, our experiences, our perspectives as to how Taba should be seen and how Taba has been seen, and our reactions and how we really saw those reactions by people. And so we would like you to, by chance, share this, comment, like, subscribe, and please actively follow us. Explore Taraba, really share Taraba, and open Taraba to a bigger platform and bigger public. That's really our goal here, and we really hope you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.